everyone. I really wanted to introduce to you guys to Sue from Transform You. And she has this incredible ability to show you how to transform your life. And today in this interview, I really want to talk to Sue about how she moved from where she was at to where she's at now, and the importance of the RTT method, as well as her incredible system called the Supersuit method, and how that can absolutely transform your life. So without further ado, super huge welcome to Sue. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's amazing to see you here.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. So just tell us a little bit for our audience, how did you get into RTT and what is the RTT method, if you will?
So how did I get into RTT? I'll backtrack slightly.
Yeah.
I spent probably 15 or 16 years doing traditional therapy. So that's seeing psychologists, seeing counselors, seeing psychiatrists. I'd been diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, depression, panic attacks. And the last psychiatrist that I saw said that I just had to live with it. That's who I was. There was no way to change, and that I just had to learn to manage it. Now, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with it. I thought PTSD is not me. It's something that I have.
Right.
And I just didn't agree with any of that, but I was still hopeless and I didn't know any better. Then I was going through a marriage separation, and I, by chance, met this beautiful angel, this woman who transformed my life. And she did RTT on me, and within about probably 3 months, which isn't long as far as therapy is concerned, I saw one of my major triggers. It was a person, and normally I'd take a big deep breath in and I would get panic attacks, and I'd, like hot and flustered and all the rest of it. And I saw this person and I took a deep breath in and nothing happened.
Wow.
And I took another deep breath waiting for it to happen, and it just didn't happen. So then I was able to just look at this person and stare at them and go, wow, he's just a person.
Wow.
So I called up my therapist and said, this is what's just happened. I can't believe it. There's no panic attacks attached to this person. I'm, as for all, intensive sake, I was cured because I don't have PTSD anymore. I don't have my triggers from smells and colours and all that kind of stuff. It's totally gone. And it was so quick, like 3 months of doing it versus 16 years in normal therapy.
Wow.
So I said to her, look, I want to do what you do. Where do I start? So starting with RTT.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, that is so powerful. And I think people don't realize that, they look for help, and the instant thing that comes up is like therapy, right? And you'll even see advertisements for therapists and like, oh, get your therapist today. But then what ends up happening is, in fact, I actually got in this cycle as well, where I was seeing a therapist and it was just a cyclical pattern and nothing was changing. And it wasn't until I really discovered these emotional release methods and some of these other methods, the NLP, these different things to help release it, that I actually found that I wasn't who I thought I was, and the PTSD and all these other things were not actually my identity, but rather a situation, rather an experience, a pattern that could be cured.
Yes.
So with the 15...
I don't think we're allowed to say that word, though, are we? Cured. But it feels like a cure.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because it's like when you understand that it's not you, that's when the magic starts to happen in my world, in my experience at least. And so with 15 years of going in circles, did you feel what was that feeling when you're like, what have I done for the past 15 years? Was there any feelings like that for you?
I suppose it was just hopelessness, really. You spend all that money and all that time and you're still stuck and you're still no different to what you were. Well, you're probably different because the stuff that they do is fantastic, But for me, I needed something more. I needed something more than just talk therapy or CBT, because I'd done that for so long. It was like my body and my brain was so used to it that it just didn't have the effect that RTT had on me.
Wow.
And also, I think it comes down to a lot of, how dedicated are you to change? Because lots of people talk about their pain, their suffering, their change, but taking that next step into actually doing something about it is too scary. They would rather stay comfortable with their pain that they're in than change it to something that is unknown.
Ooh. Would you say that that's related to feeling safe and secure, even though it's an unhealthy situation?
It's familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
We all love what's familiar and we don't like what's unfamiliar. So it's just familiar. If you've been hit across the head every day for 16 years by your loving partner, loving being the word, and then all of a sudden you've got a partner that doesn't hit you, that is so unfamiliar. It's like, I don't trust this person because they haven't hit me over the head today. Now that's just a belief that we've created in ourselves.
Wow. Wow. And I guess that would also lead into where someone gets finally into a healthy relationship and it doesn't feel exciting to them, or it doesn't feel
Yes.
That's something that happens, right? Because and that's maybe where some people will go to therapy or start trying to address it, is because they finally left toxicity, but then they get into something that's incredibly healthy and they're not sure like how to handle that.
Yes, of course. And it becomes unfamiliar and then they go and self-sabotage.
Mm. Do you help with your clientele base, do you help people move through that as well?
Yes.
The self-sabotage? Like how does that like what are some of the examples of that showing up for someone's life?
They might have had a partner that's cheated in the past, and they have a new relationship, and in the back of their mind, that person's always cheating. So they are clingy, they're checking their partner's phones, they are, constantly wondering where they are, and they want location services on and all this, and that's actually really unhealthy. So in effect, it's self-sabotage and it's pushing the other person away because they're normal and they're not cheating and they haven't done this, but because of the fears and insecurities of the person that hasn't worked through their trauma, that's like just an example of, what I can help with getting through that.
And that's huge too, because a lot of people talk about don't bring your baggage into the next relationship, don't bring your baggage with you. But then at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that actually
mean? We've all got baggage.
And then you might
not all take it with us.
Exactly. And you might not even recognize that it's baggage. You might not
because it's who you are.
Right. And you might not even recognize how it's manifesting in a relationship and how it's kind of, what do you call it? Because that can create a pattern where you get into a healthy relationship and then you can't keep the relationship, right?
Wow. Yeah, for sure.
So being able to heal and shift that. So I'm assuming that once people go through RTT and they actually want to change and they've chosen to change, even if it's the unknown, what's their relationship start to look like after that shift?
Well, it all comes back to self-love. You can't love someone unless you love yourself. So it's about teaching people to love who they are, that they're enough, that they are worthy. Because if they know that for themselves, then they're going to be able to set clear boundaries. They're going to not let somebody walk all over them because they know that they're worth it. So it's more about, not so much about the other person, it's about dealing with the person and their belief systems. And if they're happy and they love themselves, then they're able to change. Well, it's not them changing, it's them being able to have a voice and feel confident about, no, I don't want to be hit, or I don't want to be abused, or I want to put this line in the sand, and this is my boundary because this is how I deserve to be treated.
Would you say it's also connecting deeply to them understanding what they actually want and being able to voice that?
You mean, what do you mean by that?
like for example, desire, like realizing what they actually desire for themselves. Because I can imagine being in a relationship or a situation where your self-worth is getting kind of crumbled. You might not
Hmm.
actually put your needs and your desires first. Is that, you know?
No, they don't, because they're broken and
Mm-hmm.
they believe that that's all they're worth,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know any different because it's familiar to them. So
Mm-hmm.
although it might be they're hurting and it's painful and it's uncomfortable and they don't like it, it's also so familiar, which makes it quite comforting. And often that familiarity comes from our childhood, from our parents, from our
Mm-hmm.
teachers, from our grandparents, um, of how they treated us. So we look for that in other people because it's familiar. We love what's familiar to us.
Mm-hmm. And would you categorize that as what some people would say an attachment style? Does that fall under some of the realm of your descriptions you use with
Um,
clients?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody has an attachment style. And most of us, unfortunately, aren't healthy or haven't been in that healthy or secure attachment style where, we fall into the anxious or the avoidant.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, we all fall into those
Yeah.
categories and we can kind of bounce in and out of them as well, depending
Mm.
on who we're with and what work we've done on ourselves.
And
You
that's
can
really,
always change.
yeah, exactly. And that's, I love what you said there because, um, ooh, maybe demonstrate to the audience like the difference between a secure person that's secure in themselves and it, I guess the opposite of that would be what insecure, right?
Well, someone insecure is going to be looking at their phone every 5 minutes because their partner hasn't contacted them.
Mm-hmm.
And you text them like 2 minutes ago and they have not texted back. And you're
Uh-huh.
looking at your phone and you're wondering what they're doing. So they must be having an affair or they must be seeing someone else or they must be doing something else that's, and then the other one is your partner, you message your partner and they haven't messaged back and you carry on with your day. It's not a second thought for you because you know that they'll message you when they have time.
Ooh, wow, wow. And that is such a massive difference because if you have that secure attachment style, that relates to your business professional relationships, that relates to everything in your life. If you can have that secure attachment style, I mean, obviously your cortisol is going to go down. Your anxiety levels are
Absolutely.
going to go down. You're going to feel
Yep.
good more often throughout the entire day because you're not attaching to all these other thoughts. They're not there anymore. You're just like I can imagine that just you just feel like elevated and you feel more yourself.
Mm. But sometimes we don't even know what ourselves is when we've been in that space for such a long time.
Mm,
And we're living in the fight or flight
yeah.
for a long period of time. And if we live in that for too long, then we become in the freeze mode and numb, and you don't
Mm,
have the feelings. But you can't get from the freeze mode to the happy thinking mode. You have to go back through the the brain.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that because I have had my own, situations in my life and like experiences. And there was a time where I didn't realize I was living in what do you call it, freeze, fight, or flight mode, like constantly
Yes. Yeah.
for certain situations. And it
Hmm.
took a lot of digging to unpack that and understand that and be like, oh, that's actually not my how that's actually that operational value that I've been experiencing. That's actually something I can change. So,
Mm.
what does someone need to go through, for example, with RTT to unravel that and start shifting to understanding that they can have?
Mm. I think it's more just being self-aware of where
Mhm.
you are in, and like if you can think of a traffic light, red being you're in freeze and you're numb, and there's or depression, that's red because you're stuck
Mm,
where you are.
mm,
And then so you're stuck there for such a long time, and then all of a sudden you might have these outbursts of anger or tears or any of the somatic responses that you may get.
yeah.
But because you've been numb for such a long time, this feels foreign and you don't like it, so you go back to being numb. Whereas really you have to go
Oh,
back down to this is the um the anger, the crying, the frustration, the screaming, the yelling is going down from red to orange. So you actually have to go through that to get to green.
Ooh, yeah,
And
that
there's
makes
different
so much sense.
levels. There's different levels. You know, like you can be green, and on a scale of 1 to 10, you're sitting at 10 green because the day's been a little bit stressful, but you're mostly all right. And then you get home from work and the kids are screaming and they've made a mess in the house, you know, and you might go into a bit of fight
Yeah.
because you've had a long day, you're annoyed, but you're not going to freeze. You're just going in, you're fluctuating between green and orange, and these traffic lights are blinking.
Right.
And then once you've had a coffee and your partner's come home from work, or and you've just calmed down a little bit, then you sink back down into green. But if you're continuously in that orange zone, whether it be from 1 to 10 all the time, it's your cortisol levels and adrenal levels all spike.
Yeah. Wow. That is such a great explanation. I love how you illustrated that. Because I can even see that with business owners, where they are pushing so hard that they're constantly in the orange, almost red zones, even though they're feeling okay. And so then instead of like kind of regulating that and going into that, they just like they push that as far as they can, and then sometimes they over push that, and then they end up in like a burnout situation where they have to take a week off.
Yeah. And then they come back and then they go through the frustration and anger and all the rest of it. And they don't like that because that's uncomfortable space to be in. But you have to go through that to get back down. You can't go from, freeze to, red to green. It's just not possible.
Well, and also like when you are like hardened and you've kind of turned off your emotions, and like I don't know how to describe this like in the best of my ability, but like you've hardened yourself, you've kind of steeled yourself to the point where you don't feel. So going from that, you have to kind of break through those layers and release that pain so that you can soften again and start feeling those emotions and work through that and start getting into those good emotions.
Yeah, well, you can't heal what you don't feel. If there's no emotions and no feelings, then you are stuck. So when you start to come down and you get these emotions and you get this anger, for example, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Why am I angry? What's the trigger? What's happening for me? Rather than going, I'm angry and I'm just an angry person. Anger generally comes from hurt.
Right.
We are hurt.
Yeah.
But keep it simple too, and then you get to that space and it's like, right, I'm in this space. How do I get myself out of this space?
Yep.
You can do, there's exercises that you can do at home yourself.
I love that.
To get yourself out of the orange zone, so to speak, for example, if you are at home and you've got little kids running around, or kids in the, everybody's getting a bit stressed out and the kids are getting stressed, and you can see that they're getting stressed. And they're not responsive, but they're still screaming and yelling and all this kind of stuff. You could start singing, because you can't be happy and angry, or happy and sad at the same time. So as a parent or something, you might start singing whatever your kid's favorite song is, and it'll be really random. They'll be like, Mum's singing. What's that all about? And they may start to sing, but guess what? That's going to snap them out of that orange and drop them down.
Wow. I love that. I love that so much. That is such a great technique.
And that's just, some of the few things that you can do. But I mean, I've done it with my kids, if they're being, I don't know, munchkins, let's say, and you want to bring them down, just start singing. Sing their same favorite song. Go for a walk. It's about doing something different. So you're getting yourself out of that space, so you're not continuously in it, and then you work yourself up further. Because often if you get in that space and you play it over and over and over in your head, you either get stuck or it grows bigger. And instead of being at 1 orange, you end up at 10 orange, and then you're close to that freeze and that numb spot.
I love that so much. Because the other thing too is, if you're in that stressful situation, it's not the last thing you want to do is match the stress in the situation and reflect that stress back. What you can do, and what you're like talking about, which I love so much, is that you can change your frequency, your tone. You can do a disrupt mechanism of like just singing on this really nice positive energy, or going for a walk, or being like, hey kids, who wants to get ice cream?
just something. Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. I love that. Yeah, and I think also like a lot of people don't understand why they're getting angry as well. I think that's a big one when it comes to understanding yourself, is like understanding where the anger is coming from. And a lot of times anger is coming from hurt. And that has to be released before you can actually stop feeling angry, right?
Or yeah, sometimes it's just about accepting, like, am I allowed to be angry? 100%.
Ooh.
Yes, you're allowed to be angry. Because
Mm.
anger is a feeling and emotion that we all, like, none of us like doing it, but sometimes we're justified with our anger, and that's okay. You're allowed to be angry. If someone does something terrible or awful to you, you're allowed to be angry about that. But it's about not being stuck in that space for too long. Like, how do we deal with that anger? How do we recognize that it's happening? And then what can we do to get ourselves down to the green, or down closer to 1 in the scale of 1 to 10 for the orange?
I love this. Yes.
Because you can't, when your brain's in that space, so you're in orange and you go to 10 and then you go to red, you actually can't think properly. So there's nothing that, you're not
You're
functioning.
seeing red.
You're not, what is it? You're not in your right mind.
Yeah, you're seeing red,
Yeah.
And I think this is something that, I had to learn for myself is I would resist feeling certain ways, right? And but the more resistance I put, the longer I was in that state that I didn't want to be in.
Yeah.
So I would say probably that the less resistance and the more you can be like, it's okay to feel angry and allow yourself to experience it and then shift it, I think is
Exactly.
key. It's being like, it's okay to feel these feelings,
Yeah. Like some days if I'm overwhelmed and I've had a busy day and I'm just in that space, by the end of the day, I'm done. And I tell my kids, look, I've had a really busy day, but I need my me time now. I need no screaming, no yelling. You just need to, I said, if you guys don't listen, then I might say, something in an angry or gruff tone that I don't want to do. So I talk to the kids, and I've got kids aged from 10 to 17. Wow. And I just say, hey, look, I've had a really busy day. I'm feeling, a bit stressed out. I'm tired. I'm grumpy. I don't want to get grumpy at you for no reason. So I'm just letting you know that this is where I'm at. And they understand that. They know that it's not them.
Yeah.
They are not the issue. It's me. Yes. And I just need my space and my time so that I can calm down and do the things that I need to do, so then I don't react to them being normal children. Them play fighting and doing something like that. If you're in that orange zone, you're going to snap, man, because, you're not good. So I can pick up on that for myself and go, hey, kids, I'm actually feeling grumpy and tired, hungry, hot, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, any one of those things. And I'm like, it's not you. I love you guys, but I need to do this for me. So if I'm okay, the family's okay. Yeah. And they learn that, it's okay to be that way, but you don't have to take it out on other people, and you can reset yourself.
Wow. That is so much gold that you just said, Sue. That is so much accumulated wisdom distilled in just a couple sentences. And I can imagine that before you implemented this to compared to after you implemented this, your children, like, you have a better relationship with them, I can imagine.
100%. I was explosive. 0 to 10, because somebody said something that knew that pushed my buttons.
Yes.
And when you're in that space and you're screaming and they're screaming, there's nothing. No one's being heard. No one's being heard, Yeah. So now if I find that we're getting to that space, because we are human and, situations happen, I have the ability now, because I'm an adult and I know what I've done and what I've learned, I can step back and say, you know what, we're just going to take half an hour. I'm going to have a cup of tea. You go and do this. Are you ready to talk about this? No, I'm still angry. Okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Ooh, just let it calm down. Let it fizzle. Let it, you've still got the memory about it, but you can't effectively communicate with someone when they're in that brain space.
When they're in a 10, there's no way to communicate.
Nope, not at all.
I love that because I think people forget that they have the ability to communicate, that they need space, or that they're not being communicated with properly. They're like, hey, this is getting really heated. I'm going to take a step outside. Let's talk about this tomorrow when we've kind of calmed down a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah. And then just that piece, just that golden nugget could transform someone's life that's watching this with you right now.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Right. Goodness, this has been such an amazing call today. So tell me about the super suit method.
Okay, so what this is it's a 30-minute consultation, one-on-one for 5 days.
Wow.
And I will sit you down and we'll run through some tools and some homework that you need to be doing, and this is all done on the call. And it's just so that you can learn firsthand what RTT can do for you.
Wow. That's incredible. And what is, when you've run someone through this, what has been some of the comments or feedback you've gotten from someone going through your 5-day, 30-minute?
So normally after that, they want a session. They want to get help because they can see how much it works.
Yeah.
So it's not about healing you and doing all this therapy stuff, per se in the 30 minutes every day. It's about expanding your mind and giving you those immediate tools that you can use, and then them going, yep, I want that. This is right for me. Because they can see it, they can feel it, they've witnessed it, they've been through it.
Wow.
And it's only a little bit of going through it. So if it works for 5 days and we've not really done all the deep stuff.
Imagine when we go deep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, going deep.
I love that. And awareness is really key because if you can understand what your push buttons are, if you can understand what your buttons are and the journaling and the tools you give them just over 5 days, they've already made a massive improvement in their life. Like, say, for example, they have super crazy, excited, energetic children at home, as they should be. But now, even just through that communication technique that you showed us on this call, they could completely start to take action on that and see a change in their household in the evenings.
Yeah, or if a kid's not listening, I went to a meeting last night just about families and raising children and kids in a trauma-informed parenting style. Like they're leaving your kid to cry it out. What does that teach them? I did it with my kids because it was what was told of me. And it teaches them that nobody loves me, no one's coming. They have abandonment issues. Because where were you when I needed you?
Right.
Versus, nurturing them and loving them and letting them go to sleep calmly, or, it's just so in depth.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I see this so often where, parents want to do the right thing, and yet they're like, there's so many different things that they can learn and do, and then it's like, well, what is it that I actually need to do on a daily basis? What's the most important elements that I can do on a daily basis to have a relationship with my children? And I think one thing that comes up for a lot of people is, how do I keep and build that relationship when they're at the teenage level compared to when they're kind of a little, when they're a little bit less independent as children? Do you have anything on that?
How to build that relationship. I can only speak from experience on that level. So I've had, when my kids were coming into their teenage years, our home life was tumultuous. There's been divorces. That's 2 of them, not just one. There's been abuse. There has been narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and it is really hard when they're in that, and I'm in that because I'm struggling with my own self to
Yeah.
navigate and to parent them properly, because I
Mm.
had no idea. I'm stuck in my brain, and I'm in numb. I'm in
Yeah.
red because I have
Yeah.
no feeling, because I've lived this for 25 years.
Yeah.
So my parenting style was quite different, and I was very reactive,
Mm-hmm.
trying to be loving when I could, but sometimes I was present, but I wasn't present.
Mm-hmm.
I was physically there, but emotionally there was nothing.
Yeah.
And my kids have told me this. Mum, you were there, but you weren't actually there. You're so much different now. I can engage with you. I can talk with you. And it
Wow.
came probably after my healing,
Mm-hmm.
the RTT that I did. And then I was able to share with my children, this is what I've learned, or this is where I'm at. This is what's happening in our lives, rather than trying to shove it under the rug. Kids are smart.
They pick
They
up
know
on
what's
everything.
going on. They know exactly what's going on. But they also need to know that, mum's learning and mum's getting her shit together, or dad's
Yeah.
learning and he's getting his shit together. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfection.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, look, some stuff happens in life and it's okay to fail, but show them how to get back up, show them how
Mm.
to change. And I did that. And since I was able to do that, my relationship with my kids is amazing.
Wow.
And with my stepkids as well. Because, they're just little human beings, and they're trying to find their place in this world, and they're going to push boundaries, and they're going to, do all
Oh
this
yeah.
stuff. But it's like, I'd rather them grow up and be beautiful, kind, loving, caring people than potentially, be forced to go to school and do all the stuff that they absolutely hate. My
Mm.
kids do not like school in the traditional sense, but
Yeah.
they're so much better at other things.
Yeah.
And that's okay. They don't have to be academic.
They don't have to sit 10 hours at a desk.
No, they don't. My son is the most amazing artist, and he's 17 and he's at media design school. He's ahead
Wow.
and he's, flying through. And he loves it. Youngest kid there, but that's okay. Um, and he loves it, but that was him versus doing his final year at high school. Like, what do you
Mm.
want to do? High school is not really where you want to be, so let's do something that you want to do.
Mm.
And pushing and encouraging him in those ways that is best suited to him. Not what I want. It's not my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
It's his life and his journey, and he has to make, the decisions in him. And who was it? Mel Robbins had the whole let them.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard about that?
What is it, Mel Robbins? What is it called?
Let them.
I haven't
And she's
read that book, but I am very
no,
familiar.
it's not a book. It's just a saying. She said that she used to like hover over her daughter, I think it was, and they were going on a high school prom, and they're all dressed up lovely, and she wanted to micromanage everything.
Right.
And the kids wanted to go to a pizza shop that was half the size of this room and do all this stuff, and she was getting really anxious, and she thought, why am I getting anxious about something that my kids want to do?
Mm.
So then she started the whole let them. They want to do that. Who are they hurting? Absolutely no one.
Yeah.
Let them. Just
Mm.
let them, and it just frees yourself up
Yeah.
to let them make decisions in their life.
Because then you're
Um,
not taking over responsibility for their ability to make decisions.
yeah, you're allowing them to grow.
Mm.
So I love that.
That's
Yeah,
so
let
good.
them.
It's so good. And, I love what you said about school, because not every kid, like a lot of people think, oh, I went through school, I got my degree, and then I got a job, and now my kids, it's probably a good idea for them to do the same thing. But I
Mm-hmm.
love this new aspect that you're bringing in terms of parenting, where you are like, hey, what are you really good at? What do you love to do? I'm not going to force you to stay 10 hours at a desk in school if it's not what you love to
No,
do?
no. I mean, you do what you have to do, but after that, it's like, what can we do better for you? Because they're going to have so
Mm.
much more growth.
Yeah.
And if they're stifled and sitting down and doing this, and it's like, I'm okay with that as a parent. If
Yeah.
my children are not academic and they don't go to university, because I didn't.
Uh-huh.
That wasn't the choice that I made in my life. And
Mm-hmm.
if they wanted to, then I would support that as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I'm sure that some of my stepchildren, they're pretty smart. So I think there's one that's looking at going to university, and that's great. I'll encourage that and be that driving force behind her if that's really what she wants to do.
Wow. I love that. I mean, I can imagine that because when you don't stifle your children and you don't like pressure them and put that pressure on them, they're going to carry that throughout their life of just being able to do whatever they want to do that's in alignment with what their goals and their passions are. And they're going to keep that energy versus you see a lot of children that have kind of been put into a box and a system. And then throughout their life, they're kind of operating in that box mindset of, oh, here's what I think would be best for me to do based on how much money I can make based on these factors, instead of being like, I'm really passionate about this, I'm going straight over here, we're going to do this,
Yeah, that just reminded me of a story. My son said to me, he would have been maybe 10 at the time, and quite serious conversation. He said, Mum, what do you want me to do when I grow up? What do you want me to be? And I paused for a moment and I was like, what a strange, why would you be asking me that? But that's okay. And I said, whatever you do or whatever you want to be, I want you to just be the best at it. I said, so if you work at McDonald's, I want you to be the best McDonald's worker that they have. If you're a cleaner or you pick up rubbish, or you're a doctor, you be the best cleaner, rubbish collector, doctor that there is. It doesn't matter what you do, you just do it to the best of your ability. And he went, oh, okay. And off he goes. He said, do you want me to be a doctor or a lawyer, or what do you want me to be? And my response was, you just be whatever you want, but be the best. Try the best.
I love that so much. There's something so healing about that story, and it's interesting because like growing up with my parents, my parents had these ideas for me of like, oh, you need to go into Sailor Academy, you need to be a sailor, or you need to learn these things, or you need to be in these hobbies or these areas. But then when it came to my own opinion, which is pretty wild, I had a lot of ideas. It'd be like, you know what, you can't really actually make money in that, so we kind of want you to do this over here. So having that kind of conversation, you're like, whatever you choose to do, be the best at it that you can be. This is
how freeing is that?
Yeah, it's so freeing. And I'm sure your son probably just, after that, he probably picked something he wanted to do, right?
Well, he's now in media design school, and he's doing animation, and he's just, he's some of the best best drawer that his tutors have seen. And he's only 17, so he's going to go from strength to strength.
And he's only 17, man. That is so amazing. Like, all of this, I can say, probably like stemmed from the therapy and the RTT and
me changing.
Yeah.
Me changing, not prior to this.
Yeah.
Because I had that mindset and I wasn't even healed myself. So how could I have this relationship or conversation with my children? Because I didn't love myself.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't enough. So how can I give what I don't have away?
Right. Like if you haven't helped yourself yet, how can you help someone when you're not there yet,
Yeah.
That is so divine. I want to say the word divine. The healing, the transformation, just like everything you shared today is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just makes my heart sing to hear your personal story and how RTT and now you're helping other people with this,
Yeah, that's great.
Wow. So, were there any last gold nuggets you wanted to share with anyone watching this? Yeah.
You're enough. You're worth it. Fix you first. Be selfish and put yourself first for a change.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
especially as a woman or as a mother, because you're so often doing everything for everyone else.
Last, right? It's so common to see that. Like,
yeah.
Everything else comes before you, and then where's you in there?
Yeah, there's no you, because you've lost yourself potentially because you've been a mum, a wife, a partner. And where's me? Where's Sue gone? Sue's still in there, but yeah.
Wow. So everyone watching this, if you guys would love to experience the flavor of RTT and Sue's work, please reach out to her directly. Would email or messenger, or what's the best way?
Email or messenger is fine.
Perfect. Yeah, reach out to her. Her program, the 5 days, 30-minute. I mean, honestly, as a business mentor, I have not seen something this amazing in terms of something free of this kind of value in a long time. Highly recommend taking Sue up on this amazing offer, and will absolutely transform your life. If you've like gotten any kind of value out of this interview and this call, take the next steps for you. Invest in yourself. You're totally worth it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Sue. I'm so grateful for you to be on this call. And yeah, looking forward
Thanks
to
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye for now. Awesome.
The big long pause at the end.
Well, that's just so I can
Yeah, I know. Cover.
slice it. Oh, how do you feel? How did that?
That was good. Yeah, very good. It was quite funny because I was in Auckland yesterday. So I live in Tauranga, which is 3 hours away from Auckland, 2.5 to 3 hours. And I drove up there yesterday and I sat with the lady that's doing my mentoring with me. So this is the woman that did my therapy. And we came up with the super soup method yesterday.
That's perfect time. When I heard that, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and she was just like, right, so this has to be your fingerprint. This is who you are, and this is what you're going to do. And it took hours just nutting it out and thinking about what it is, but it has to be different to what someone else is giving, because everybody's giving lots of different things away.
Yeah.
And we went, yeah, so now the fun part comes to me is I've got to plan what those 5 days are. I've got a basic outline and I've got to sit down and nut it all out.
I'm sure you've got this covered, though. I mean,
yeah.
Take any value from this interview you did. It like even like elements of this interview could be part of your 5 days. I mean, even just how to handle children. Oh my gosh. You know?
Yeah, and those are just snippets, you know, like there's so many more things that you can do. One of them is, have you ever heard of VU breathing?
The what?
VU. VU breathing.
VU breathing. I'm familiar with a lot of breathing techniques. I haven't heard of that one.
So that's when you breathe from here in your chest and you take a big deep breath in and you just let whatever noise comes out until it's all gone.
Oh, is that similar
like that?
Is that similar to trauma breathing? No, trauma breathing is a little bit. So trauma breathing, you're actually like making noise on your inhale and exhale, and you're
this is just the exhale. Just exhale, and it's whatever noise comes out. And you go and go and go and go and go and go. And if you're doing that, let's say with your 10-year-olds that are running around, you just stop and you just go, oh. Some kids will just join in, oh, and even little kids. Let's say you've got a 2-year-old who is, you know, starting to have a tantrum. When they're having a tantrum, they're in orange. It's not their fault. That's just what they're in. So if you stood there and just went, and you just stood there and went, this 2-year-old's going to go,
of course they are. Yeah.
They're not in that space anymore. Rather than, you know, letting them have the tantrum or letting them do that, it's just, well, let's just change it. Let's just get them out of that. And I think that's so cool to be able to do that with a little kid, you know, because it's all ages that you can do this stuff with. You just got to pick your person and pick your...
Well, that definitely needs to be part of the training.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, I love singing. I love making noises like of course, when I'm not in, you know, serious business meetings in between stuff, you know, I'm singing, I'm making fun, and a lot of people forget that they can still, you know, it's normal to make noise, and I don't know, like a lot of people are afraid to make noises, you know?
Yes, and I think often too, like as far as people who are, you know, in my line of work where they're depressed, sad or angry or they have issues, I was this person and I found it hard at times to go from, all right, I'm miserable, I'm unhappy in my life, and but I'm going out for the day and I'm going to a party. How can I enjoy this party when I feel like this right now?
Yeah.
How? And it's, you know, because you think that you have to be this because you're angry and you're upset with your partner and you're living in that space. And it's like, how do I let go of that? when I'm going to a party and I'm going to be with friends, but I should be angry because I am angry, and you want to hold on to it because it's yours.
Right.
And I had this, I'll just share one more analogy with you. This, if you can think of your problems like a balloon, all right, and your balloon is as big as whatever, however you want it.
Uh-huh.
A balloon or do your backpack. We'll go for a ball, not a balloon, because balloons kind of float. Ball, a big bouncy ball, and you've got all your problems in this ball, and you're stuffing it in, and you're carrying it around with you like this. And let's say you want to go, you know, you're going out with your friends. It's okay to put the ball down. You're at the beach and you're in the waves, and you put the ball down, and it goes a little bit away from you, but it always rolls back with the, you know, with the waves. It's still there, but it's just not here. It's over there.
Mm,
Yeah. So it's.
I love that. Have you ever heard the pot technique?
The what? Sorry.
We call it, I learned this technique, it's called the pot technique.
POT?
Yeah. So
No,
you
I haven't heard of
imagine
it.
putting all your, like anything that's going on, like, okay, put all your thoughts into the bowl. You just put all your
Mhm.
thoughts into the bowl, you put all your mess in there, you put the lid on it, and then you set it on fire, and then you bring in like a healing light through it.
No, I haven't heard of that.
And let it all dissipate. And in fact, there's that same meditation I was doing every evening for a bit. I love going back to this because you just meditate and you imagine yourself putting it all in the bowl, and then like it lights on fire, and then everything just like gets dissolved and dissipated and like burned away. And then you don't have any
Wow.
problems the next morning. You take care of them every night. You just take all the problems, you put them in the bowl, you burn it,
Yeah,
and then you're
that's
not thinking
cool.
anything from the day before.
Yeah. I think for me, that's when I have a shower at the end of every day.
Yep.
For me, I just visualize everything just being washed away and going down the drain.
I love showers and water for me personally.
Yeah. It's just cleansing. It's refreshing. It's like if I don't have a shower before I go to bed, I feel like I take the whole day with me.
Oh,
Everything
yeah,
that's
absolutely. It
accumulated
feels
over
like
the day.
sticky. Like it feels like it's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, no matter what, even if I'm going to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll just have a quick shower and just wash everything off me.
I love
Just
that.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Oh, that's good. I love that too. Yeah. Because when you deal with like a ton of people, or not even a ton, but when you deal like with a lot of people throughout your day, you know, there's a level of like you can call it your magnetic field or whatever you want to call it, but it's like you kind of have to cleanse your space and your energy, and there's different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
But it's really important to, you know.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I worked in my business in Hamilton on, what day was it? Saturday. And by the end of the day, I was just emotionally exhausted.
Mm.
I had such a busy day. And I love it when it's busy, but by the end of the day, I was just a little talked out. So I needed, you know, probably an hour just to myself, just not talking, not doing anything, just not moving, just being. And then I came right and I was like, okay, cool. I had my little recharge. I'm good now.
Uh-huh. I've definitely had a couple of days where it's like, okay, I had 10 calls today, back to back, and team meetings and everything. And then at the end of the day, I'm just, all right, let's go do something for me now.
Yeah. You get it, you know, because you deal with people all the time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm
And
doing
I
more
can see you
delegating.
love it and you enjoy it because that's the type of person that you are. But we all still have that energy exchange, and regardless of if it's fantastic and you've got that energy, it's still energy.
Yeah, and I actually like I can handle. I love people. I love talking with people. I love it. Like that's my talent, you know. That's my like genius zone to bring people together. But even then, I'm like, okay, recharge.
Yeah.
So goodness. Wow. I'm excited for this to get launched.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be amazing.
Perfect timing for me.
Yeah,
With my 5 days super suit method.
So we did talk about me being able to give you some like some ideas on how to grow your business online, and I'd love to be able to share just some ideas with you to grow
Yeah.
into that still.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm into everything at the moment because what works for someone might not work for someone else, and I'm just open. I'm open. My hands are open like this to anything that's coming my way, because you never know. Yeah.
I love custom feedback. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
And I think, and I've been feeling that your 5-day thing could be really big.
Yeah.
Could be really big in the right way. Like, because I know you said, what, 5 clients a week? You're just trying to, like, what do you call it? Gradually,
Yeah. Yeah.
without,
Just kind of without overwhelming myself with everything else that I have going on. Or
exactly.
even if I worked every other week on my RTT and worked every other week in my other business, so a week about or that type of thing. But then I'm often dealing with people in different time zones. I have to be mindful of that. So it's like that week might not suit them. So it's like I might be working at 8 or 9 at night, or 8 or 9 or 6 in the morning, and just doing at that end of day stuff, because it, middle of the day for me is their middle of the night, and I'm not getting up at 12. So
Right.
you've got to make those allowances
So you have like a
for
kind of a
me.
switching schedule where one week you'll have afternoons available, one week you'll have evenings or mornings available.
Well, yeah, it kind of depends on the person and where my schedule's at. So I'll look at it ahead, because I live by my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't happen.
Oh, you're like me. I live.
Yeah.
Calendar is my second Bible. That's the only way I can make all my meetings and make sure that my team, like I just.
Yeah. It's
So,
like, hold on, what am I doing in 2 months?
so do you have?
Yep. Okay.
So all your clients right now, are they one-on-ones? Is it weekly? Like what's your setup? Because I was thinking maybe I could give you some feedback on how you can make it run more efficiently with everything you have going on.
So currently, people are reaching out to me, and I'm making a time to talk to them. And I do a Zoom meeting with them. I allow 30 minutes. If it goes over, great. If it goes under, it doesn't normally go under, to be fair. It normally goes over. And I'm having a conversation with them. I'm talking to them about RTT, asking them what's going on in their life. And it's almost, for me, it's like an intake form. So I'm writing notes.
Oh yeah, you're
Writing notes.
pre-qualifying as well. Yes.
Yeah, so that if they want to sign up and get a session, I've already done one step of it. I don't need to backtrack and ask them the same questions again, because I've already got all the information.
Right.
Then I book them in on a call, on a meeting then and there. We work out our time zones, send them a Zoom link, and away we go.
Fantastic. So is it just one? Is it just per? Are you working on a per session basis, or are you on a retainer?
They can have, if I'm doing trauma, which is what I want to, what I'm specialising in, it's 3 sessions generally. But each session is an hour and a half to 2 hours, give or take.
Yeah.
Then they listen to their recording for 21 days. And then we reassess, and then we do another session, because that's going to unpack those layers, that onion layer that we all have.
Yes, peeling it, yes.
And then we deal with that, and then we do another recording, and then they listen to it for another 21 days. So though it's only 3 sessions, that's like 3 months.
Yeah, okay. And are you pre-scheduling the sessions, or are they choosing when they can take their sessions?
Working it out with them at the time.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. How many?
What day suits them? What time of day suits them? Whether they're home. Like I had a client the other day, and she was home alone, and I said, "I really like you to have someone home with you, just so that they can give you some love and hugs and kisses and look after you." She said, "Well, that would be my husband, and he comes back on this date." And I'm like, "Okay, so we need to just put this off for a couple of days. Wait for him to come home, because I want you to have some love for the weekend, rather than being all alone."
Yeah, 100%.
So it's thinking about what's best for them as well, not just when it suits me.
Right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
So how many clients do you feel comfortable taking on at this 3 session? Just out of curiosity on that.
I actually haven't thought about that. I think 1 a week would be enough for me if I'm doing one-on-ones. yeah, because that's 30 minutes out of my day, and then out of that, yeah, and I like the group idea, because then you're killing two birds with one stone, potentially getting more clients from the same. But I think initially I might start with the one-on-one, get my flow, get my, because it's only a new thought, get it all streamlined, and then once I have the streamline, then look at group stuff. I think that's a great idea.
I love it. I love it. And the other thing too is you can pre-sell the group. So you can be, hey guys, this is one-on-one. This is really specialized and custom to you. And at some point during our sessions, I will be inviting you to a group, and you'll get complete free access to that group. And this will be part of your, this will be part of your one-on-one package. And then let's say after their 6 sessions, then they can transfer over to a paid group session with you, or they can continue to do their one-on-ones.
The paid stuff, I couldn't do a group session for that. Not at this stage, because the paid stuff is when we're going back into hypnosis and we're dealing with their trauma.
Yeah, that would be your personal. I mean, there's only so much. So that's the other thing too, is your group could be focused around support.
Yeah.
And teaching them the healing tools, and then leading meditations or group things, and then they can give feedback on those group calls on what their experience has been, and then you can answer questions related to where they're at. And so what you could have is your one-on-ones could be focused more towards like the actual, you're doing it with, like you're walking it with them, and then the group is you're showing them how to do it for themselves and creating that support network so they can continue doing the RTT work.
Yeah. So the stuff that they do with themselves isn't necessarily RTT. It's just it's all the other therapy stuff. The actual RTT is them just allowing them space every day to listen to a recording. Yeah. Which is not much, but people still struggle to find that time to make themselves well.
Yeah.
There's always something else to do, and it's like, do it before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
But what if I fall asleep? It actually doesn't matter. You can fall asleep.
The other thing too is, depending on the level of RTT therapy and what's all involved, you could actually do the membership where you pre-record meditations for each person, and then they get that as access. And there might be some crossover where after their first initial sessions, they may not need to do it directly one-on-one on a Zoom call. You could actually do pre-recorded like work therapy. Like, for example, I guess I've done this. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you carry on. I'm just thinking about that.
Like, for example, with my clientele, like, yes, we do business, yes, but there's also mindset stuff that has to be shifted. So what I'll do is I'll create a recording to walk someone through all the steps required to shift their mindset, and like asking them questions and kind of guiding them through a process. And now whenever they have a problem, anyone in the group can watch that recording and actually do some of the work themselves.
Yeah, that's not it's too generic for the stuff that we're doing. I mean, it's nice in the sense. So on my webpage, I put up just a calmness recording that went for 8 minutes. Now, 4 of that is just induction, and only 4 minutes of it is the actual transformation. But generally what happens when I'm doing the transformation is I'm using their information that they gave me. So they're getting a bespoke transformation.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's say they say, I want to feel like Superwoman because I'm wearing a pink butterfly cape and there's rainbows behind me. So I'm going to use their exact words and I'm going to incorporate that into their transformation because it's their brain and their so it's custom. So that's your generic ones, yes, but the gold is using their words.
The real gold is these one-on-one sessions.
Yeah.
That's the challenge with healing modalities. Time they're so deep and they work so well one-on-one. It's like, where do I find that? So with the group, you could do support.
But the super soup method, the 5-day lead, and that absolutely could be done as a group. because we're not going too deep. We're not getting into anything like that might be, you know, very private to people. It is a generic, because it's going to be one size fits all, and there'll be one on anger, and there'll be one on sadness, and one on, you know, but it'll have the base. But yeah, I want to streamline that first and get my head around it before
exactly.
doing big groups. Yeah.
Well, like, it doesn't have to be, it could be 5 or 10 people, and that's completely manageable. Like, when it gets to 20 or 30, that's like, okay. You know, that's like usually unmanageable for most people, unless they have it super systemized. But like, for example, if you guys are exploring the emotion of sadness and how to release sadness, you can do a little hot seat where people are talking about, you know, how they've experienced sadness, and then you can actually be educating all of them on how to transmute that. And so that could be the support. With the one-on-one, you have your own company, like you have your nail, you have your piercing company, so you're very familiar with hiring. I would love to see, as a next step for you, is to train someone through RTT, through going through your deep session work and the group support, and becoming a facilitator alongside you to offer those one-on-one sessions.
Yep.
That would be one way to keep the quality high, keep those one-on-one sessions going without overloading your calendar.
Moving ahead, potentially.
So like after 5 to 10 clients, think about bringing on a facilitator from within your group and within your one-on-one clients. Because that's the challenge. That's really the challenge with deep work is you can't necessarily take away the one-on-ones. You can do group healings and stuff, but ultimately that one-on-one quality is like where a lot of people get that major transformation.
Absolutely.
And so to do that, you can, you know, have this facilitator alongside you. And that actually, a lot of people think, like, for example, how you found RTT and then how you wanted to become an RTT facilitator. Very similar energy. You can kind of reverse engineer what that person, you know, you can reverse engineer what you did for yourself.
Yeah.
And then another format you might want to look at, I'll let you finish taking your notes.
Yep. That's all right. I can write fast. You should see sometimes by the end of talking to someone, my page is just all over the place, but it makes sense to me.
I'm the same kind of way. I'm like,
yeah. Yep, go for
it. Another way to set it up is you have one deep dive session a month, and then during the middle of that time, they have access to the group. So then for each onboard, you'd be giving them one session a month, they'd be joining the support group, and then it would function that way.
So when you say deep dive session, what would that?
Oh, that would be your peeling the onion session.
That's a one-on-one?
That would be your one-on-one. So then they would feel like they're still getting access to you without with the support and like all that learning there, without having to without it being like 3 sessions and you know, just like you can bring more people into that container, for example.
Yeah.
And 1 session a month's deep dive usually is enough for people when they have that support container alongside it to ask questions and all of that.
Yeah. Yep. Because often with the RTT, when it works for someone, you're potentially never going to see them again. Potentially, because they are healed. They don't need to keep coming back every other week to check in. The work is done. The healing is done.
Right.
And it's amazing just how it works, and how, you know, when it does work for someone, it's like that issue it's actually gone. It's done. It's in the past. There's no like you can't bring it back up to rehash it because there's nothing to rehash. There's
Mm,
nothing to
right.
go back and go,
Exactly.
hey,
It's gone. It's printed.
it's gone. Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, well, what now? And you know, when I was doing my training, they were like, right, you need to come up with something that you can practice on each other with. And it needs to be something real that you need to work with. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what I need work with, you know, because I've been working on myself with RTT for such a long time. And if there's an issue that comes up, I'm just done. I do it, make it happen, do the recording, fix myself, and you know, I'm sorted.
Right.
Versus, you know, so I had to role play and just pretend to make something up in my brain and answer the questions. And like, yeah, for me, that became a little bit tedious because it was, you know, you had to do so many sessions and it's just like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But for these
Mhm.
other people, because lots of people didn't have the experience I had leading into it, they'd never even heard of RTT. They just found the course, loved it, and do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, they'd never even had a session.
Right. Right. And that's the other thing
Yeah.
too is I love what I call upselling. I love being like, okay,
Yes.
we healed this. What's your next level? Now we can work on
Uh,
refinement. Now we can work on polishing the diamond. We dug the diamond out of the mud.
yeah. See, I would
What's
have,
your next level?
that would be, that's an uncomfortable place for me at the moment to be in.
Oh, which one?
Upselling. The
Oh,
upselling.
ah,
Yeah. Just, um, yeah, I don't know why. I think I think that people they're going to have a money block. They're either not going to be able to afford it and all this kind of thing. So that's my belief and you know, that's a limiting
ah,
belief that I have. That, you know, how can they,
and
because I
that's going to
suppose
be huge.
part of my heart is to help the people that don't have money,
Right, right.
that can't actually afford this, because why should only the people that have money get the benefit from what I'm teaching?
But they have your 5K. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of money.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what I love to do is sponsorships. So you can choose how many a year you take on, but
Hmm.
people can put a percentage of their client payment towards sponsoring a new person to come in through RTT.
Wow, that's really cool.
It's very exciting too because um, I love to do this in my business. Like I have a healing academy that I'm a part of, and they're
Yeah.
doing retreats and stuff. So I give a percentage of my commissions to them monthly.
Hmm.
Really help get more people to experience that. And that's just what I love to do. That's just my, um, I don't know if you
Yeah,
want to call it philanthropy. That's just my way of giving back to the results that I've achieved through their program, right?
sure. Yeah, because you can't do everything for free because that's not smart business.
But the people that have more money, usually, if they're in a good place, they're going to want to give
Yeah,
to the next person. Like, why would you not want to give a little bit so that this next person can come through your program?
sure. And you tack that on top of on top of the fee, or just
Either
take it out
or.
of that.
Yeah,
Either
either
or. Yeah,
or. Yeah, whichever feels best for you.
yeah.
Um, So here's the thing too, is about the next level is I meet a lot of people that do really well. Like they've done so much healing work on themselves. They've gotten to such a great place. And the next level for them is like, I want to speak on stages. I want to be a badass. Like I already am great, but I want to be like on fire every single day.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
want to be in my power, and not just be in my power, but like I want to take this to the world. I want to serve other people. I want to, I've taken care of myself now, and now it's about how do I get my message out to the world. And so that would be their
Mm,
next ledge. You'd be like, great, we can use RTT to really show you how to step into more leadership abilities, how to get out in your communities, how to like actually take this information and do something with it.
mm. Yep.
Because like you can only do like dark, intense healing for so long before you come out of that cocoon, right? Now, what about the
Yeah,
butterfly wings,
yeah, yeah. Mm. Food for thought. I love it.
Hmm. So that's also, like if people don't have definitely if people don't have the money for it, that's a belief set for sure that can be worked on. Absolutely can be shifted too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because once, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
Because one thing about this business is having recurring revenue and recurring customers and building a community, right? Building relationships in a community around your business.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's, yeah, heaps to think about, man. I've had a big few days.
Did I
I've
give
got
you
a
too
lot of work
much?
to do. No, not at all. Not at all. I've got a lot of work to do to get myself ready for those free sessions that I've just given away.
Yes, you have free sessions. So you gave out a bunch of free sessions?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
On your thing, yeah. So now I need to get my program sorted.
And
I've
then,
got the bones of it.
yeah, my suggestion is to make that a 5-day monthly thing and invite
Yep.
multiple people to that.
Yeah, I think that's an absolutely great idea. 5 days once a month.
And then you can be like, when you do your pre-qualification, your consult call, like, look, I really want you to experience this for yourself.
Mm.
And then it makes serving them a lot easier too, because you bring down sales resistance. I'm not sure if you have sales resistance, but if there is sales resistance, you can bring it down by adding more value.
Yeah. And for me, I think it's because I know that what I do it's not expensive per se, but I think because I have that heart for people that I know can't afford it, but I love the sponsorship idea, or the, percentage. That's fantastic. Because there are those people that do have money that have come to me that if it works, they'd probably love to donate 10% or, $20, $30, $40 to the
the next
cause.
person to pass it along.
Yeah. Yeah. Pay it forward.
Yeah. It's about incorporating like ethics and philanthropy into your business. Finding the things that like add a ton of value that feel good.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So does this give you a relatively clear roadmap, or would you like a simple breakdown of maybe some steps you can take?
At the moment, I have enough at the moment to get me started, but so my thing is I need to get this 5-day thing sorted in my head mentally and prepare and know what I'm doing. So that's probably where my focus will be for the next week.
Okay.
And then probably doing it one-on-one with a few people just so I can iron out anything that's in there, or redo it. And then if I'm looking to do that, a group thing, that will be.
Does that feel good?
No, I love one-on-one. I'm not necessarily good with groups, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Yeah.
I run, for one of my companies that I'm helping, I run team meetings once a week for them. It is so much fun.
You run team meetings.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I help some really large businesses and all the ins and outs and that. But we have this team training once a week, and it's so much fun.
And they send you what they want you to train them on, and you go and do the training. And
yeah.
There you go. Wow, that's cool.
It's like popcorn. So like people,
you're sitting there eating popcorn, watching them.
Well, it's like they eventually they pop and they come in with a question, and then you get to build off of everyone's energy to create something.
Yeah.
So that's the aspect of a group that in a one-on-one situation you're getting the feedback from multiple people, and you're kind of weaving a experience together with them. It's really fun.
Yeah. So just moving forward with some things, because I do come across other people online. I'm assuming I'm allowed to give them your details and tell them that you need to contact Julie, and she'll sort you out and help you and move, because there's often lots of questions with people on who should I see and what should I do. And although I might know the answers, it's not my happy place, like helping people with that stuff. And, it's like I might know what to do, but it's like, yeah. And you kind of skim over those ones, but now I can actually, refer you if that's
absolutely
cool with you. And
I can
what else can I do for you?
I love your energy so much. I say I love you a lot to people, and it's just because I love people. I love you. So
you're just that person.
But I gotta be careful
bright and energetic and bubbly, and it's cute. I would say you're very cute.
Oh, well, thank you. It's like I work in this like healing group, and we're all just saying I love you to each other. And then I take that into my business world. It's like, oh well, I might not need to say that. I'm just saying like I love your energy, or I love this about you.
Yeah, that's cute.
Oh,
well, I've even been talking to one of my employees on the phone, and she's like, all right, love you, goodbye. And then you can hear that. Did I just tell my boss I love her? Oops.
So I've had that happen too, where like we're leaving a team meeting for my own company, and they're like, love you, bye. And they're like, bye, I love you too. I was like, oh yeah, we just did that.
Yeah, and the first time I think is always the most awkward, and then after that it's like, well, actually I do love you because I care about you.
Mm-hmm.
But we say it, and we have this almost like this limiting factor and belief. It's like you can only love someone that you're romantically involved with, or you can only love someone if they're pleasing you or doing something. And it's like, actually, if I care about you and I have time for you and I listen to you and I'm there, then clearly I love you. Just a different type of love.
Yeah, and that is, I think, soul to soul is the kind of love that I love to share. Is like I love your soul. Like I love, like we have this. There is more than just the material. There's more than just. And I would love for everyone to be able to say I love you. Not just in a romantic situation,
Yeah, I was just looking at your bits on the back of your wall there.
Oh yes.
The little bits of because someone said to me the other day, they're like, what's that on your wall? Is that a backdrop? And I said, no, it's actually books from a page that somebody's ripped out and glued on the wall. And this whole room is filled with like page books, different stories, and
Mine is
I would have thought to do that.
Mine's the 5 life quadrants.
Nice.
So I have like my internal motivators. So I have health, my internal motivators, and like the reasons why I focus on health, and then the actions I can take towards that, and the beliefs that are positive about that. Wealth, and then family and legacy, relationships with self and others, passion and purpose, like what's my passion and my purpose and my spiritual mission, and then contribution, like how do I contribute, like what are my ways of contributing. It was fun because like in between meetings I just go scroll along them all.
Yeah. Do you add to it as well?
Oh yeah.
Keep adding to it, or subtracting if something's not quite working, or
well, sometimes I'll go over there and I'll be like, oh, I'm out of alignment with this internal motivator. I need to add more contribution to my business or to my life, or I need to add more of this. Because you're constantly kind of going through phases in life, right? You're not always hitting the 5 quadrants equally depending on what you're doing. So if you go back through, you're like, oh, I need to focus on this aspect of my health more, drinking more water, or because sometimes you get busy, right? And then things go out the window a bit. What I would love to do is maybe in 2 weeks have another call and see how you're doing with everything, if that would be of value to you.
Yep.
Love it. I love how you
my answer is yes. Because I don't know what I need until I know what I need,
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that.
And I'm always open to learning and expanding. So if we jump forward 2 weeks, that's around the 5th, isn't it? Is that right? 1. Yeah.
You are absolutely correct on that.
I have my calendar on my phone.
I just was looking at my calendar and being like, oh yeah, you're right.
So the 5th I can't do. I'm finishing off my tattoo.
Oh, what kind of tattoo?
Do you want to see?
Yes, please.
I just covered it up because it's, so I've
Oh,
got that.
wow. Oh, are those all flowers?
Yeah.
Are you going to do them colored?
No. And then that, and I've just got under here to do.
That's going to be really pretty.
Yeah. So I got all the kids to pick a flower and I put it on my arm and incorporated it all together because I wanted something pretty. And then the butterfly is transformation because what do butterflies have to do, man?
At some
Their
point,
life is hard.
At some point, I'm going to get a tattoo. I'm just not sure when yet.
Yeah. And I've got a little one here and I've got another one here and one back here. It's like, oh my goodness, I've started something.
You started something. Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
So he's going to finish the under the arm?
Yeah. And I say that'll be it, but I'm sure it won't be.
I'm sure you'll probably add more.
Yeah, well, I've waited like till in my 40s to get any tattoos, so it's not like I've not thought about them. It's rushed into something.
Let's see. I'm just looking at my calendar. Oh, there we go. Now it shows. So I'm going to go to meetings. Oh, there we go. Schedule invitee again. Let's see. So going into November, it looks like Monday, Wednesday. Looks like you can book all the way up to the 8th. Would any of that week work?
I can do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Perfect.
No, I can do Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday. Okay. Let's see. We booked in today at 12. Would 12 is 12 a good time for you? The time we started this meeting today?
Can we go maybe half an hour after or 15 minutes after that?
Oh, 15 minutes after? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we'll say, yeah, it'll say 12, but we'll just be doing 12:15.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. And what day?
That would be on Thursday, November 7th.
For me?
Yes. Did you want a text message reminder?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Yep.
What number?
Yeah, just 8. I've got kids to drop off and muck around, and the partner will be here at work. So I'm all done by 8:15.
So what number may I put on the thingy?
So +64.
+64.
2720.
2720.
88856.
88856.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. It'll just send you a little reminder there.
Yeah.
This was so much fun today.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how the free sessions go and how your new super suit method happens.
Yeah. Same. It's going to be amazing.
I just love it. I can already see some fun branding with that.
Yeah. I've put a little post up on my private group, just did an AI generated one, but I'm going to get my son to design it for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, you're your son. That's right.
Yeah. He can design that for me, but I need to know exactly what I want. So I can't just go design this because it could be anything. So,
yeah.
But if I tell him what I want, then he can design it and draw it.
Yeah. Amazing. That's so cool.
And even animate it for me if I wanted.
Oh, there we go. Like a butterfly.
Yeah.
And just butterfly wings or something like that.
Yeah.
So I will take this recording, I'll put it on YouTube, and then we'll post it. If you would like to, if you want to do a testimonial of this meeting or the meeting next, either one is fine. And then assuming you get value out of this, you implement some of it, you get some results, of course.
Sure. Yeah. And for a testimonial, would you want written or verbal, video?
Whichever you prefer.
Okay.
And then I do have a post on leadership. That would be amazing if you just posted and tagged me in it on your profile, just about taking your power back. And I'll share the post with you and you can let me know if that's something. I mean,
Yep,
I
sure.
think it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know, yeah, because lots of the stuff that you've shared with me is so basic and so, but yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Like, is it like simple, like?
Yeah, yep. I mean, you take what you know, take what I can and implement it into my business, and there's some things that I can't implement because it's one-on-one and the bespoke transformation that's the gold and the gem. So there are some things that I can't implement, like doing a group session where they're all getting the same recording.
That's
So it
like
doesn't work like that.
step 2 or 3.
Yeah. But the base stuff is absolutely helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have more.
I bet.
Simple. I have more on that front
Yeah.
end. I
Yeah.
call it the front end. That's the leading up to your client work, the leading up to investing with you. I call it front end.
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Yep.
And yeah, sometimes I have people reach out to me for mental health crisis stuff. So
it's so hard sometimes. You don't know what to do, or are you saying the right thing?
Well, part of it too is I don't offer mental health crisis. I usually work with people that have some level of self-development already.
Yes.
Like some people at least have gone through some kind of coaching or some kind of, usually those are the people I work with. So
yeah. And often for you, let's say that they're reaching out, they're in the orange light.
They're in the
red
orange
light,
red. Yes, exactly. And I'm at a
there's
point.
not much you say that's going to be able to help or change them in an instant until they calm down a bit.
Right. So perhaps there's a way I can refer those people to you as well.
Yeah, if you wanted to, or there's different things that I tell people to do, depending on where they're at and what they're doing. But even one of my employees, she goes from 0 to 100, and things to do with her family. I'm like, you need to have a cold shower. You need to dip your face in an ice bath because it resets the nervous system. You need to do this, and then you're going to be able to think straight. But right now, you can't think straight because you're not in your right mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. Yeah.
So perhaps I could send them either a training or we can talk further on how I can send you referrals because I don't.
Yeah. Yep.
I love healing. I love doing all that, but I'm more of the main onion peel has been peeled already, and
yeah.
we can work on the deeper layers.
Yeah, for sure. It's been great connecting, Julie. I love it.
Likewise, Sue. How amazing. So good.
For sure. Now, am I allowed to, can I share when you upload it to your YouTube channel? Can I share it to mine?
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything on mine, but I'm starting. So
yeah, share to yours. That'll be great content, and I feel like I did a pretty good job illustrating your story and getting you to share. I mean, your gold nuggets are just like, you're fire.
Yeah.
It's so good. So
yeah, no, great. What's your YouTube channel?
Superhuman Julie.
Of course.
So mainly my main follower count is on Facebook. So usually you get a lot more traction on Facebook than the YouTube channel, but that will be it'll be shifting over time with that.
Oh, it all takes time and energy, and there's so much out there.
Yeah, I have a VA that does a lot of work for me, which is fantastic. But a lot of it just comes down to having regular podcasts, and then you just kind of build your followers up through that for YouTube.
Fantastic.
We've been on this call for an hour and 40. I love it.
I've got nothing else to do. Actually, got heaps to do, but nothing planned.
I just kind of, I made sure
open.
that there was plenty of space so that we could have, we could do whatever we needed to do on this call.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you are going to, obviously I'll do this little splicing technique with this. I'll send you the post. I'll upload this to YouTube. We have our call on Thursday, the 7th of November. And then what you're going to do in that time is work on the super soup method and kind of formulating that.
Yeah.
Have fun. Hopefully having lots of fun in the process. And then kind of working through your free clients that have come through. And the other piece would be setting it up so your 5 days is like a monthly thing that you can invite multiple people to.
That makes lots of sense to me.
So that would be
doing it. Yeah, that's less work.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That would be
working smarter, not harder.